Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear my audio? Okay, so yun na lang. I'll be sharing my screen na so that we can begin and it will not be tedious on your end. So yun. Also for your class representative, kindly monitor if there are any absence on the group, and later kindly forward it to me, so I'll double check it if meron nga talagang not attending all throughout the session. So yun, if you have any question or clarification at the end of the discussion here, so kindly raise it so for me to address yan. So for the meantime, listen muna, and if may question, sa dulo natin siya i-clarify.
Okay, good day, class. For this meeting, we are going to review the basics of radiation concept, which are quite fundamental for us to better understand the intricacies of the formal radiobiology afterwards. So, but for now, let's focus first to review yung mga dapat nating matandaan at mas ah, ma, ma-elaborate for us to better understand nga yung mga radiobiological principles na sa mga succeeding topics natin eventually. Okay, so una nating pag-usapan under this one. So, una nating pag-usapan under this one are the classification of radiation, which I know you are quite familiar with. So, let's talk about the classification of radiation. Radiation. Okay, for the classification of radiation, the two broadest category is we have the ionizing and ionizing versus and non-ionizing. And ionizing versus and non-ionizing. Alala natin, they can form the what we call ion. Di ba pag sinabi nating ion, these are charged particles or atoms that possess a charge. And this is brought by yung pagkakaroon ng charge natin ng removal of electron. And removal of electron by the incident radiation, which is often in our practice, like sa diagnostic radiology, this is brought incident radiation, which is often in our practice, like sa diagnostic na atom, dahil dun sa ionizing radiation na nag-shed off or natanggalan siya ng electron. And that is what we call the ionization process. And dahil dun sa pagkakatanggal, from neutral, magkakaroon siya ng charge. And anong magiging result nito? Eventually, magkakaroon tayo ng ion pair. Magkakaroon tayo ng ion pair. So, yung electron, itong ion pair natin, yung negative na electron na natanggalan, saka yung atom na natanggalan will become a positive one. So, meron tayong negative at meron tayong positive, yung atom na natanggalan ng electron at yung electron. And the combination of the two is the what we call ion pair. This is oftentimes the product of the ionization negative at meron tayong positive, yung atom na natanggalan ng electron at yung electron. And the combination of the ionizing radiation. And ions are not stable kasi nga meron silang charge and opposites, which is this could be problematic especially sa loob ng ating cells. This event is quite very important sa radiobiology eventually, especially etong ionization process. Okay, so non-ionizing on the other hand is not capable, and hindi sila capable na mag-remove ng electron, not capable of electron removal. So yung energy nila will just result to what we call excitation. They will just impart additional energy to the atom that they will expose. Example nga nito, the magnetic spectrum is non-ionizing, like radio waves, infrared, microwave, so on and so forth. So once they came to so on and so forth, but not to the point na matatanggalan ng electron or madi-disturb yung electron configuration ng atom. Okay, so that's the two basic type as we recall it. Now, let's talk about the types of ionizing radiation. Okay, so may din tayo ng ionizing radiation as you can still recall from your radiation production subject. Okay, so ito yung mga types ng ionizing radiation natin. So we have the electromagnetic. And so ito yung electromagnetic natin. Ito yung pinakakilala nating ionizing radiation because this is where the X-ray and gamma belong. And X-ray and gamma. So anong property nilang mga electromagnetic? They are just waves and waves of energy. They are just waves of energy. Therefore, they have no mass, no charge at all. No mass or charge. They are purely energy disturbance traveling in a form. On the other hand, yung another type ng ating ionizing radiation, yung particulate. So yung particulate radiation naman, and so yung particulate radiation natin, ito naman yung made of particles. Ano ba kilala natin particles? Alpha particle. Alpha along with gamma. Gamma. That is beta particle. And beta particle. So si gamma kasi sa X-ray dito kay electromagnetic. So beta particle. But aside from that, any particle that will possess enough energy to knock off an electrons once they arrive or hit an atom can be considered a particulate radiation. And like halimbawa, yung neutron, yung proton, they can also be a particulate radiation. Even the nucleus itself, they can be ionizing particulate radiation once they accelerate through a certain device such as a linear accelerator. So etong speaking of that, etong si alpha particle itself, this is can sometimes similar siya ng construction dun sa helium nucleus dahil may neutron. And from this, we can derive one of the important property of particulate that is contrasting to the properties of electromagnetic radiation is yung pagkakaroon niya ng charge. Meron siyang charge and as well a mass. And meron siyang bigat. Katulad na itong alpha particle, 2 proton and 2 neutron. Kaya siya yung pinakakilala kasi siya yung pinaka-ionizing among the common particulate radiation. But again, any particle, as long that they can travel faster enough to gain energy sufficient to remove an electron from an atom, we can refer to them. Both of this type of radiation ay magiging part ng ating radiobiological discussion sa mga succeeding topics. Of human exposure to radiation. Okay, so sa part na ito, pag-usapan naman natin yung sources of human exposure. Human exposure to radiation. Okay, unahin muna natin is in terms of kung saan ba galing in the broad category. So this is natural, broad. So natural versus man-made or artificial. Artificial radiation. Artificial Of course, ito yung galing kay Earth or galing sa surroundings. Yan, nasa surroundings natin to. So this is the very reason why everyone is actually exposed to ionizing radiation. So lahat ng nandito sa planet natin is exposed to ionizing one because the entire universe is flowing. Kaya lahat talaga ay exposed. So there's no one or nothing is exempted to that exposure. So primarily among the natural radiation sources natin like si cosmic, yan pagka cosmic ito yung mga nanggagaling sa outer space. Sa outer space natin, lahat ng outside from the planet. Yan, from the outer space. Sa example nga nito, yung mga outer space. Sa example nga nito, yung ating mga comets and other that are extraterrestrial. Lahat ng sources ng ionizing radiation na wala dito sa loob ng planet Earth. So tawag natin wala dito sa loob ng planet Earth. So tawag natin din cosmic. And the cosmic one are quite dependent dun sa altitude saka sa ano natin, sa may latitude. So pag mataas ang altitude saka latitude and the altitude. And the and latitude, altitude. Okay, so kapag mas mataas ka sa surface ng Earth, mas prone kang malapit sa atmosphere, the more you are experiencing or being exposed to ionizing radiation. As well, pag nasa polar regions, mataas yung latitude, mas malapit sa North and South Pole, mas mataas yung radiation South Pole. Na kaya yung pag-travel by air, yan, at yung being at the countries nearby sa poles, they are receiving higher amount of radiation coming from the cosmic. Okay, so next is the another type that we have for natural terrestrial. Okay, for terrestrial radiation naman, this is from the Earth. And so, okay, for terrestrial radiation naman, this is from the Earth. And so yung ang pag-age ng Earth. Yan. So, kasabayan silang nag-exist nung nabubuo pa yung planet natin. So, ito yung mga nasa lupa. So, kaya yung mga materials natin na made of concrete, gypsum, or other materials derived from the Earth are quite possibly possessing some traces of terrestrial radiation. Like yung mga radon, yan, thorium, so on and so forth. Because yung Earth ngayon, lupa mismo, meron siyang ionizing radiation, yung mga atoms. Like uranium, yung uranium namimina yan sa ilalim ng lupa. The largest occurring radioactive atom. Okay, so next we have the internals, internally deposited or yung mga internal deposited radiation from what we inhale, what we drink, and what we eat. So, sila yung mga contamination sa environment that oftentimes because of our need to eat, to drink, to breathe, na pumapasok sila sa katawan natin, nade-deposit yung kanilang ionizing energy. That is what we call internally deposited ionizing radiation. At ang pinakakilala nga dito is yung dahil sa part siya ng natural na pagkain natin, like yung banana, is yung potassium 40. Yan. Yung saging po ay merong ionizing radiation. But don't worry, it is not quite high enough to cause devastating effect. So kung gusto mong ma-experience yung radiation sickness galing sa radiation niya, yung potassium 40. Yan. So, ayun, ang pinakamalaki sa mga natural ionizing radiation natin is the radon gas. And so si radon gas ang pinakamalaki diyan, one of the product of the subsequent decay of uranium. Malaking naturally occurring radioactive atoms decay, so eventually magiging gas siya in the form of radon. At yung radon itself is a ionizing radiation, so pwede siyang mag-evaporate or mag-escape sa mga cracks ng Earth. Yan, pwedeng mag-expose eventually ng mga water, ng mga underground waters, and also directly to the atmosphere, pwedeng mag-escape siya. So, kaya pinakamalaking sources ng ionizing radiation, naturally speaking, is radon gas. Yan. Then, una naman tayo sa artificial. So, sa artificial, nandyan yung mga medical exposure. And so, medical exposure. By the way, artificial once again is coming from man-made. So, dahil to sa kagagawan ng tao, kaya siya nag-exist. And example nga nito, yung mga medical exposure, yung katulad yung ginagawa natin, yung mga procedures like radiography, CT scan, and so on. Man-made, pasok din dito yung mga occupational. And so sa occupational, dito naman yung mga radiation workers such as us, so yung si radiologist or any professionals that are related sa paggamit ng radiation. Okay, so yung mga ano rin yung mga medical physicists as well as yung mga nagtatrabaho sa mga nuclear power plant, pasok din sila dito. And we also have the industrial, another category. We also have the industrial is the industrial and industrial consumer products or simply industrial. So dito pasok yung mga ano natin, yung mga ginagamit nating mga devices and mga products na binibili sa market that because of their operation, gumagamit sila ng ionizing radiation such as yung mga smoke detectors, yan yung mga yung pag ilang mga bacteria and other microorganisms that is otherwise present dun sa surface ng mga agricultural products para habang tinatransit sila for exportation, hindi sila kagad nabubulok nung kanilang mga microorganism dun sa balat nung like halimbawa nung prutas. Yan. So example din yun ng possible na exposure natin sa industrial application ng man-made radiation. And the less common one, yung mga fallouts. Na pag sinabi nating fallouts, ito yung galing sa mga nuclear testing or yung mga accident. Yan, mga aksidente or yung testing ng mga nuclear weapons. Like yung sa ibang mga bansa, tulad yung US for instance, kapag may bomba sila na nuclear, they want to test its effectivity dun sa mga bodies of water, like for instance sa dagat, sa isang open ocean area, they often detonate a nuclear bomb or nung mga time nila, the atomic bomb. And because of that explosion, it will scatter the substantial amount of ionizing both the electromagnetic and particulate ionizing radiation. So, and the most well-known na fallouts, ito mga nuclear accidents like yung sa Chernobyl before, yung pag meltdown ng nuclear power plants that somehow resulted to long it will scatter the substantial amount of ionizing both Chernobyl power plant. Until now, si Chernobyl is a ghost town dahil sa taas ng radiation na iniinit dun sa lugar galing dun sa pagsabog ng nuclear power plant. Okay, so yun yung mga common. Pero among them, ang pinaka malakas na exposure natin sa ionizing radiation is the medical. Yan. So yung pagkaano natin yung pangangailangan natin for diagnosis and other treatment with the utilization of ionizing radiation. Ganun kung natural sa radon gas, sa artificial naman, medical exposure. Ang pinakamataas ang contribution sa ating ionizing radiation dosage. Next na topic will be the modes of exposure to radiation. So modes of human exposure to radiation. Human exposure to radiation. Okay, so for the modes of exposure to radiation, we can categorize them into. So for the first category is external versus internal. Of course, from the word itself, you have the idea kapag external, yung source galing sa labas ng katawan ng pasyente. Let's say for instance, labas ng katawan ng pasyente. Let's say for instance, ito si patient, yung mga machine, common to na ginagawa natin sa radiology, can be considered as long as ito nga X-ray machine and the X-ray machine. So yung panggagalingan ng radiation sa labas ng katawan ng pasyente and eventually saka pa lang tatama kay patient yung radiation, that is external. Pero kapag ka naman internal, ito yung nanggaling na ipasok sa loob ng katawan ng patient. Let's say for instance may kinain, yan, may nakain si patient na radioactive particles or atom. So yung radiation na yan, palabas yung kanyang origin. So mula dun sa radioactive decaying atom, yung gamma oftentimes or any radiation like alpha is move. Kaya yung katawan ng pasyente dito, siya yung nagiging parang source ng radiation. So it could be ingested, inhaled, or yun nga injected, like sa case halimbawa ng nuclear medicine, yung mga radiopharmaceuticals doon ini-inject sa pasyente. So once na ma-inject na palabas ng katawan ng patient, galing dun sa radioactive source na naipasok sa katawan ni patient. So that's the difference between the two. Another classification is yung ating direct versus indirect. And so direct versus indirect exposure versus indirect. And so direct versus indirect. Okay, so for indirect exposure natin, this is a direct contact. So pagka indirect contact, this is oftentimes common sa mga radiologic natin. So pagka direct exposure, bawa yung ito ulit katulad yung dito sa ibabaw, yung directly tumatama yung radiation sa kanya. So yun yung tinatawag nating direct exposure coming directly from the source. So from the source, yan. From the source ng radiation. Samantalang yung indirect naman is not from the source. Not from the source yung exposure. Halimbawa nito yung mga yung scattered. Halimbawa ito kasi ni patient nag-interact na dyan, magkakaroon ng scattered radiation. Yan yung mga secondary sources. And yung scattered leakage yan, we can consider. But common to scattered radiation. Sa diagnostic radiology, scattered radiation could be considered indirect kasi di ka naman direct ng tinamaan ng X-ray tube as well as yung contamination. And halimbawa nito yung sa nuclear medicine naman, hindi naman tinusok sa iyo yung radiopharmaceutical, hindi ka naman ininjectionan. Yeah, pero dahil dun sa proximity mo dun sa pasyente na nag-i-emit ng radiation kasi radioactive na siya technically dahil dun sa in-inject sa kanya. So na-expose ka nung kanyang yung radiation na nanggagaling sa katawan, chemicals na nadikit sa'yo o kaya naman na lapit sa'yo, so natatamaan ka or nadidikitan ka rin. But hindi kayo direktang nag-contact doon sa primary source. So that is what we call indirect exposure to ionizing source. So that is what we call indirect exposure to ionizing radiation. Human exposure. Classification and of human exposure radiation. Human exposure to radiation. Okay, for classification of human exposure to radiation, number one of that, yung para sa atin, occupational. So a while ago, nabanggit natin to. So pag occupational, dahil sa may background ng work, yan. So basically work, yung trabaho. Ang tinawag na occupational exposure to. So ito yung mga radiation workers. Yan, yung mga radiation workers. An example tayo, technologists, radiologists, medical physicists, mga nuclear power plant personnels, and others na otherwise related naman sa paggamit ng ionizing radiation. Yan. So, yun yung occupational. Kakabanggit lang natin siya kanina. Based on profession. Yan. Profession or work. Profession. Then we have, aside from occupational, nabanggit din natin kanina, the medical exposure. So medical exposure naman is coming from the treatment, diagnosis and treatment. And so like sa diagnostic radiology to rule out certain conditions of the patient, and sa therapy, yan, related to occupational, nor medical. Yan. So, yung mga tao na hindi naman sila talaga yung pinapatamaan ng radiation or hindi sila directly involved, pero dahil sa vicinity, dahil sa presence nila nearby, possible sila ring na-expose. Halimbawa sa examination room, ikaw yung rad tech, occupational yun sa'yo, yung sa pasyente mo medical, then yung mga taong nasa paligid na possible na napupuntahan din ng radiation, mga public exposure yon. Okay, so next is the accidental exposure. Okay, for accidental exposure naman, ito yung unintended. Unintended. Okay, so unintended, hindi sinasadya. So, halimbawa na lang yung mga yung bigla na lang nag-detonate ng nuclear bombs na akala walang tao, ayun pala dun sa isang island malapit ay may inhabitants, or yung sa case halimbawa ng mga bombings like sa Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as yung mga taong naapektuhan nung power plant malfunctions or meltdown like sa Chernobyl, and sa Japan nung nagkaroon ng tsunami, yung Fukushima. Yan. So, yun yung mga example, mga accidental. Hindi talaga naman gusto mangyari yun. Pero events, yan, nagkaroon ng accidental exposure. Okay, so let's go. Let's talk about radiation quantities and units. And so for radiation quantities and units, ito yung way to somehow describe kung paano yung manner ng exposure to ionizing radiation. Okay, so to somehow the radiation quantities basically into four. Yan. So but sa iba kasi they have additional, pero pinaka main yan is four. So we have exposure. Yan. So pag sinabi natin exposure, this is how the patient or how an object receive the radiation directly coming from the source. Essentially, exposure is initially outside the body. Gaano kalaki exposure related to the intensity. Yan, yung intensity nung radiation right before na totally mag-enter na siya doon sa loob nung na-irradiate or na-expose. Okay, so oftentimes this is in the presence of air. Yan, so pumasok sa katawan ng pasyente. At ang ano natin, yung quantity na to or unit ng yung quantity na should I say air kerma, yung GY sub A yung symbol, air kerma. ionize ng radiation charge, or kaya nga minsan it is referred as coulomb per kilogram. That the unit of charge is coulomb. So yung coulomb ng number of ions, ion pair na nagawa niya dun sa mass ng air na na-expose. Yan. So it's the exposure as I think na so si absorb dose, ito naman yung from the word itself, yung na incorporate dun sa mass ng tissue or ng object na na-expose. So ito yung initially na the energy deposited. And the energy deposited doon sa tinamaan ng radiation. Okay? So yung kanina sa exposure, hindi pa pumapasok. Dito ngayon pumasok na kasi, may energy nang na-deposit. Tapos ang unit naman nito sa SI, we have the gray. SI, we have I sub T. Yan. So kapag GY sub A, air kerma yan. Pag GY sub T, the gray in tissue. Yan. Ibig sabihin merong tinamaang matter or tissue ni patient. Then sa non-SI naman, ang patient. Then sa non-SI naman, ang counterpart niya sa non is yung ating sa non-SI or radiation absorbed dose. Radiation absorbed dose. Radiation absorbed dose. Yan yung ibig sabihin niya, radiation absorbed dose or RAD. Another category that we have, sa absorb kasi hindi pa alam kung ano yung nagawa nung energy ng radiation doon sa tinamaan na mga tissues or part nung na-expose. So si effective dose, it will somehow tell in the bigger picture, it will tell the effect of radiation and effects. And yung effects ng radiation. Ano yung ginawa ng energy dun sa mga natamaan niya? So ano yung effect ng ionization events na na-produce ng exposure dun sa mga tissue na na-expose, na naka-absorb ng radiation. So kaya technically, kaya tinawag siyang effective effects yung na-produce niya, yung equivalent doses to the tissues na-expose. So this is, ang SI naman is Siebert. Ang SI niya is Siebert, pero yung non-SI is the REM. So yung REM naman, yan yung radiation equivalence in men. Naman, yan yung radiation equivalence in men. In men. Yan si REM. Then last in the group, we have the activity. Okay, for the activity, this is the rate of decay. Yan, rate of decay nung atom na radioactive. So hindi nito tinitingnan kung gaano kadaming radiation yung lumabas. Rather, it is after kung gaano kabilis na mag-decay yung isang atom na unstable that resulted to the emission of ionizing radiation, whether particulate or electromagnetic, or maging stable ulit yung kanyang energy composition. So yung atom ang tinitingnan dito, hindi yung radiation lang na nito. Si radioactive decay, ang SI naman yan ay Becquerel. So ang SI niya is Becquerel. SI is Becquerel, ng symbol is BQ. And tapos yung non-SI naman nito ay yung Siebert. Siebert ulit. Yung correction, Siebert yung kanina. Hindi siya Siebert. So it is Curie. Yan. Okay, so that is Curie or Siebert. Okay, so sa equivalence ng mga yan, yung SI na 1 air kerma, so usually 1 air kerma, 100 na Roentgen. Isang gray 100 na rad, isang Siebert 100 na rad, yung isang curie is 3.7 times 10 raised to 3.7 times 10. Yan. So 3 times 7 times 10 raised to 10 becquerel. Yan. So yung equivalent ng isang curie. 3. Yan. So yung equivalent ng isang curie. 3.7. That is, you can also use this kapag ka nagko-convert naman. Okay. So next natin pag-uusapan is the naman mga sources ng medical exposure. Pag-usapan natin yung background ng mga sources ng medical exposure. Sources of medical exposure to radiations. Essentially, these are the procedures that we often perform sa hospitals. And so, number one among the list, yan dahil nga siya ang pinaka madaming yan dahil nga sa ating artificial or man-made ionizing radiation exposure, kaya hinighlight natin si medical exposure. And also, to the very reason na ito yung mga gagawin nga natin na sources ng ionizing radiation sa hospital. So, among the group, yung na sources ng ionizing radiation sa hospital. So, among the group, yung dito si diagnostic radiology, yung ating general radiography. And general radiography. General radiography. So ito yung galing sa mga X-ray, fluoro, CT scan. So they are often the common mga first line kasi sila ng diagnostic chains na nire-request for patient para ma-rule out yung condition or ma-diagnose. Kaya dahil palagi silang pinapagawa, maraming member ng population ang na-expose sa kanila. Kaya siya ang pinaka hina-highlight na common na source, especially yung mga higher modalities like fluoroscopy, saka CT scan. Yan yung mga common dito. And another is the dental. Si dental naman, hindi siya ganun kasing dami nung na-expose or yung level ng exposure compared to the diagnostic radiology. So si dental diagnostic radiology. So si dental radiography kailangang magpa-brace, pinapanoramic tomography yung dental bridge, saka yung mga and other procedures ng dental na before magawa ng dental. Wait lang class. Okay, so to continue, again, next in line sa ating medical exposure to ionizing radiation is the dental radiography. Na pamuli nire-request ng mga dentist bago nila gawin yung mga complicated procedures like yung pag-extract ng bawa ng wisdom tooth or yung paglalagay ng mga braces and the likes. Next is the interventional radiology. So sa interventional, magiging subject nyo to in the future. Ito yung gumagamit ng extensively ng fluoroscopy procedures like yung mga yung pag sa mga blood vessels na occluded, halimbawa may blood clot or merong cholesterol build up. So pwede siyang interventional radiology yung way ng pag-remove. And so kaso nga lang yun to be performed, image guided siya by fluoroscopy. And as we know, continuous ang emission ng fluoroscopy. Kaya mataas ang exposure din sa kanya. Kasi siyang interventional radiology yung sa mga among the highest sa natin sa diagnostics si CT scan sa si fluoroscopy. And we have, aside from this one, yung nuclear medicine. Isa rin to sa mga highlighted na sources. Dito sa Philippines, hindi siya masyadong ginagawa dahil limited lang yung nuclear medicine facilities natin. Pero sa ibang bansa, talagang marami silang nuclear medicine facilities for molecular imaging. And yung mga diagnosis, common kasi dito yung diagnosis ng cancer sa mga cancer patients ang common na pinapadiagnose dun sa mga procedures na pinapagawa sa amin. And doon, nag-i-inject ng radioactive particles. And kaya medyo mataas, significant yung kanyang particles. And kaya medyo mataas, significant yung kanyang the patient will become radioactive afterwards, especially kung mataas na radioactivity yung mabibigay sa kanyang yung pharmaceutical right after or even after the exam, yung patient, yung exposure nung mga taong lalapit kay patient is also an interest. Yan, sa nuclear medicine, i-discuss sa inyo yan. That is in that essence. Kaya malaki rin yung exposure dito ng public. And aside from the nuclear medicine, nandiyan din and aside from radiology, si radiation oncology is the cancer treatment using radiation. So mas kilala natin siya sa radiotherapy. So another subject nyo by next school year, yan si radiation therapy or radiotherapy. So wherein mas malakas yung exposure for the purpose na dapat kasi mapatay ng radiation yung cancer cells. And dahil pagpatay na ng cell ang pinag-uusapan dito, kaya mas deeply concerning siya when it comes to radiation protection. Kasi kapag hindi maayos, hindi gagaling yung patient, baka pinapatay lang din ng radiation exposure, hindi yung cancer, but the healthy cells of the patient itself. Yan. So, i-discuss nyo yan by next school year sa subject ng radiation therapy. Okay, so siguro last topic na to, the other sources therapy. So wherein mas malakas yung exposure for the purpose na dapat ng ionizing radiation. And so as we mentioned, yung mga devastating events like yung mga accidents, yung mga pasok dito sa mga accidents, yung mga fallouts, nag-test ng nuclear bomb, fallouts, or hindi testing, talagang nag-detonate or naglaglag sila katulad yung nangyari sa Japan, sa Hiroshima, sa Nagasaki, and also yung mga meltdowns ng nuclear power plant. Katulad yung nung bigla na lang sumabog yung power plant sa Chernobyl. Kaya yung Chernobyl sa Ukraine until now is yung down. Dahil sa ang lakas pa rin ng radiation na even at the present day, hindi siya habitable. Yan, yung radiation level. Kasama din dito yung travel sa space. Ang travel sa space. Not only in the space nga, yung travel lang by air, yung palaging nagpe-plane, mataas ang exposure niyan sa cosmic radiation. Kakabanggit lang natin kanina, katulad yung katulad yung sa may sa natin. Primarily, mga stars as mentioned, yung sun. So ang sun naglalabas din yan ng ionizing radiation. So kung palagi ka nagta-travel by air, you are receiving a substantial amount. Pero hindi naman kasi sobrang tagal ng travel sa air, kaya safe pa rin siya. So bihira naman yung almost negligible yung nado-document na bihira naman yung almost negligible yung nado-document na nagkakaroon ng complications or actually almost none. Wala pa talagang precise na nakakapag-point out na nagkaroon ng sakit ng exposure sa exposure sa radiation dahil sa pagka-travel sa air. Lalabas ka na ng Earth, mas lalapit na yung mga asteroids, comets, and whatsoever na mga heavenly bodies that are quite high when it comes to ionizing radiation emission. And so kaya yung travel sa space is deeply concerning. Meron din silang nilalagay na protective feature against ionizing radiation. Kaya yung mga astronaut concerning, meron din silang nilalagay na protection. Kaya yung mga astronaut medyo paglabas mo dito sa planet Earth, when you come to outer space, the danger looms around because of the high level of radiation. Yan, sa araw pa lang, nakakamatay yung binubuga niyan. Yan, sa araw pa lang, nakakamatay yung binubuga niyan kapag nagkakaroon siya ng solar storm. Marami siyang particulates saka electromagnetic radiation na nilalabas, and kung wala kang shield, you might die because of radiation sickness. And we will talk about yung radiation sickness and sa ano natin, sa may other potential source as mentioned sa kanina sa man-made consumer products. And yung mga consumer products natin, yung mga industrial products like yung products like yung some some appliances like kung meron kayong smoke detector sa bahay, pero yan common sa mga sa mga hotel, yan yung may smoke detector para kung may naninigarilyo sa mga hotel, yan yung may smoke detector para kung may naninigarilyo, or sa mga facilities like sa CR sa CR ng airplane, speaking, meron ding smoke detector doon. Yan. So yung bigla na lang mag-a-alarm yan ng sobrang lakas katulad naging event loob ng CR ng airplane. So pagbaba nung pag landing, kinulong siya. Yan, kaya wag mong tatangka sa mga public utilities. Wag mong tatangka sa mga public utilities yan, especially mga CR ng airport or ng airplane. Yan. So meron kasi sila dong smoke detectors ng radioactive or meron silang radioactive na component that siya yung nagse-sense ng presence ng smoke. Aside from that, yung mga luminous watch dial, yung mga orasan na luma, yung diyan yung isa sa mga nakakalungkot na history ng radiation discovery, yung sa yung luminous watch, yung mga painters niyan, yung mga naggumagawa ng orasan, especially yung mga taga-paint ng mga radioactive paints. Isa sila sa mga pinaka nakakalungkot na exposure to radiation. And other materials pa na common sila, mga glow in the dark. Kaya pag may nakakita kayo mga glow in the dark, so you should hesitate first before using them. So pero sa modern naman kasi ngayon, we have replaced them, mga tri-tube. Hindi na sila masyadong ganun ka-serious. Pero we are not certain. Mga tri-tube. Hindi na sila masyadong ganun ka-serious. Pero we are not certain yung primary component nun, kasi may mga glow in the dark na radioactive. Yan yung mga naman yung glow in the dark stick yung ginagamit sa mga hindi siya yung severely emitting na iba yung gamit nila. It's more of a chemical interaction. Pero some of ng glow in the dark radioactive, like yung radium, glow in the dark yun. Okay, and siguro last na dito sa other sources, yung mga contamination natin galing dun sa mga food saka sa water that we somehow consume. Yung tubig na underground fresh water, habang umaangat yung radon gas, pwede niyang ma-meet yung water, making it contaminated with radioactive particles. As well as some of the food itself, yung kanilang puno is nag-absorb ng radiation that incorporated sa prutas. Bawa nito yung banana, yung mga nuts, like yung Brazilian nuts. Yan. Kaya kapag sa mga foreign countries, they even ask kung kapag nakakita ng radiation sickness syndrome, so they will ask kung nakakain ng Brazilian nuts. Yung Brazilian nuts kasi mataas ang kanyang mas nakakatakot yun compared sa may banana. Na kapag medyo napadami ka ng konti doon, you will feel the radiation sickness, that kapag sobrang taas nga nung nakain mo or dami nung nakain ng ganung klaseng nut, you might even die. Yan, inaano pa nila kung nakakain ka ba ng mga ganung klaseng food. And at ang pinaka-common dito, yung sa banana na potassium 40. Yan. So yung potassium 40. Pero yung potassium 40 naman is not high. Pag yung banana, kung gusto kong maapektuhan ka man niya, you need to eat a ton, 1 toneladang banana. So mga isang truck sigurong malaki yon na kailangan makain mo ng isang kainan. Wala namang taong kayang gawin yon. Baka mga isang piling pa lang ng ng banana, hindi ka na makahinga. Much more pa isang truck ng banana. Baka hindi ka mamatay sa radiation sickness, mamatay ka sa sa sobrang kabusugan. And kasi napakadaming banana. Kasi napakadaming banana. The important radiation exposures, concepts of radiation physics that we should understand well before we go to the discussions nung ating radiobiology proper. And medyo mahirap kasi intindihin sila kung by yung physical principles behind is hindi natin maintindihan. So by next meeting, we are discussions nung ating radiobiology proper. And medyo mahirap kasi intindihin sila kung by yung physical principles behind is hindi natin maintindihan. So by next meeting, we are going to dig deeper more sa ating radiobiology concepts. So I hope
na na possibly you need to we need some elaboration. Okay. So, kung wala ng question or any clarification, I'll be giving you the rest of our time for you to do further readings kung kung medyo nakalimutan, pakibalikan na lang so that pag pumasok tayo sa actual radiobiology wherein we're going to apply more the concepts or have the permission to leave na and have a enjoy the restful night, keep safe and enjoy the your weekends. Okay, so dun sa kay Miss Biray, just send it to me na lang siguro sa sa Messenger or you have the you have the permission to leave na.